Hello and welcome to She TV, the place to become powerfully feminine from the inside out. I'm Candice Oneida. So what I want to talk to you today about is your voice and your power. The feminine voice en masse has been suppressed for millennia. We are in a patriarchal world. We are in a society where our voice, the feminine voice, the values of the feminine have been so deeply repressed. And whether it's in our own life and our own this life story, or this embodiment we have of a millennia of suppression, attack, destruction of our feminine healing power, of our voice, of our bodies, of our sexuality. We all carry it in our bodies as women. So whenever I speak about embodiment, I do speak about it with regard to both the body embodiment, and of course I work a lot with that about sexual power and your sexual energy, okay? But another aspect of embodiment that you may not be aware of is that of the voice. I have a thing with this myself. I have spent a world of time giving my voice more space. Like literally, I actually have a very quiet voice. I know I'm an introvert, but my voice is very quiet. I need to be mic'd whenever I'm on stage. I'm mic'd now. I can't be heard over groups. And that's something I've had to work with over my life. When I decided to start my YouTube channel, it was at great risk to that part of myself that wanted to hide in my voice. And my mission to help women to re-emerge in their feminine power became more important than whether I was seen or whether my voice was heard, or the kind of attacks that come at me for the things that I say, which on my YouTube channel I protect my subscribers from, by the way, because I don't need them to have to embody that. I take that on behalf of my community. There are still people out there that want to suppress our voice. And by the way, it's not only men, it's not only this sort of patriarchal mindset, it is women too. One of the things I've noticed is that the false feminine, especially the princess, doesn't like it when the true feminine is feeling powerful, the true feminine is strong in her voice. She wants to bring everybody down. The false feminine wants to actually make everybody small. Whereas when we are in our true feminine, the opposite is true. We actually seek to bring everybody up so that everybody has a voice and everybody emerges in their most powerful expression of themselves. So there are some ways that the suppression of voice gets expressed. Now, you do the work of desire in the Powerfully Feminine Intensive, okay? This work of desire is so that you can actually discover, dive into, dig down and discover what's really your desire and what's not being conditioned upon you. And that's great. And yet, once we actually discover what we desire, the next step is to ask for it. Now, to ask for it, we need to speak it out. And this is actually probably more tricky, more edgy for so many women than the actual desire digging process. Because now you have to ask someone or ask the universe for something very, very real and very vulnerable from inside you. This is where it's going to take practice. This is where you need to enlist some people that you care about and that care about you. Enlist the community and say, hey, I realize my voice has been quite suppressed, that it's scary for me to ask for my needs and my desires. Do you think we could have a phase of doing this together? Would you be willing to be the recipient of my desires? Now, this could be a friend, it could be your lover, your partner, your husband, or your community. I'm saying this because you need to practice it. This is something you can't think about theoretically. You need to do it for it to change. And trust me, I know that edge. It was so hard for me to ask for my needs and desires. I was so afraid that there would be a risk that I'd lose something else. If I asked for what I wanted, I might lose what I already have with this person. You hear me? I think you might understand that. That one of the reasons why we don't speak what we want, we don't speak our desires, because we don't want to upset the apple cart. We don't want to upset what's already kind of working. Now, this is exactly where women end up compromising what they want. So what he really wants up here, but we kind of compromise and accept this level here because we're afraid of actually speaking our need. If there's one thing I can tell you that will define the difference between the true feminine and the false feminine, is the true feminine clearly, calmly, openly speaks her desires and needs all of the time. And you can only learn that by doing it. And you're probably going to have to do it from a bit of a princess or a maid state at first and feel terrified and believe that nothing's going to happen. And oh my gosh, I'm going to upset the apple cart of my relationship and the status quo is going to be blown up. And all these things are going to come up as you do it. But you have to try it. This is a learning of faith that the world wants to provide for you. Remember, the concept of provision is that it's the masculine. The masculine wants to provide for you, whether it's the masculine of the divine or through a partner or just through the flow of life. The other way we don't speak up is that we just don't speak honestly. We're not truthful. Again, we're not truthful, not in order to always say the truth and hurt people, but we're not truthful when we're asked what we want, or we're asked what we need, or we're asked what we think. We hold ourselves back just that little bit. So sometimes we're holding ourselves back a lot, but sometimes we hold ourselves back just a little bit, enough to feel like you're not really stepping forward in your vulnerable, authentic, true self and voice. Now, the third thing I want to speak about with regard to voice is what I call voice flow, or voice stream. Now, the voice is like a flame. Our heart is like a flame too, but our voice is like a flame. And a flame is something that can be connected to something consciously. This is something that I was taught by my spiritual teacher. We never leave flames alight unless there's someone attending to the flame, an actual candle in a room, because the flame will connect itself to whatever if left unconscious. But when you consciously light a flame and say, I'm connecting this to the highest light, the highest, most refined space, and then you hold that connection, it can totally change the space in a room. Our voices are the same. We can connect our voice consciously to our heart, for example. So as I speak to you now, I'm consciously connecting my voice to my heart center. And that translates through the voice stream. Now I'm going to adjust a little bit, and I'm going to connect my voice more into my pussy, to my yoni. It's going to have a different tone to it, but more to the point. It's going to pass something to you that's a little bit different, right? And I'm guessing you're feeling that right now. All right, so voice is so important for so many reasons. And again, use the community, use the private Facebook page as a way to be able to express your voice, because sometimes the written down aspect of it is a good way to start. Sending my love to you and my encouragement for your unique life-filled voice to come out. And remember, when you have the courage to go out there and shine, you give others permission to do the same. So let's go out there and shine this week. Bye-bye for now.